Okay, I just want to make
Yep. We can hear you.
thanks.
You're welcome. Like, take it, you can see me doing my hair.
Yeah, you, yeah, I never did this before, so I was just making sure I'm on it.
Me either.
Okay,
I'm in
let's
trouble.
begin. First, I've got one in there. Tara Wilson. Miss Wilson,
That's me.
you all dressed and ready to go now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You're doing your hair on here, so kind of watch what you're doing in video for me, all right?
I didn't know if it...
Tiffany Robertson, can you please unmute?
Remember, you look marvelous.
All right, I want to thank everybody for these. I got the intro from Marion, and I got that last one from Ashley Santiago. This one here, I believe, is from April. And, you know, this guy believes he's getting railroaded.
Are you John Band Jr.?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Band, you're here today on an arrest detained from court services. They're alleging you violated terms of your probation.
Yes, sir.
Failed to report with court services, and also
What do you mean failed to report?
an
I
arrest.
wasn't due to report yet.
Excuse me?
I was not due to report yet.
Okay. And also an arrest by the Hayes Police Department on August 22nd.
Correct.
Mr. Greg Schwartz is your attorney. Contact Mr. Schwartz, and then we'll get this scheduled for a hearing, all right?
I just want to plead guilty to everything, Your Honor. Right now, I'm done. I'm done with this.
Okay, well,
Tired of having court services hanging over my head and accusing me of things I'm not doing.
okay.
So
well,
let's just get this here.
That is just makes no sense. I want to plead guilty because they're accusing me of things I'm not doing. I'm not doing them, but I'm going to admit to them.
Hearing underway, sir.
we're not going to get it underway. You have an attorney. Get in contact with your attorney.
I don't need the attorney. I just want to plead guilty.
Well, get in contact with your attorney. This hearing is not set for a plea this morning, so we'll get it scheduled for a hearing.
All right. We clearly need to get court services under some kind of control because I'm tired of being accused of things.
All right, thank you.
Boy, I'm just getting railroaded here.
Number 11, People versus Cortez Fairley, page 22-238 FH.
Yeah, people.
Ready, Judge. Torsia Feaster, Assistant Public Defender on behalf of Mr. Fairley. Mr. Fairley, please state your name for the record.
Cortez Fairley.
All right. Today's the date and time set for violation of probation hearing. We adjourned this from a couple weeks ago to go over the recommendation of probation. What are we doing today?
Judge, I'll put the recommendation on the record now, but I think we need an adjournment so that we can decide if Fairley intends to accept that offer or not, Judge.
We don't need no stinking adjournment.
Okay. Go ahead. I mean, I have.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Fairley, but the offer is to revoke probation 1 year in the Washtenaw County Jail with credit for 139 days.
And how many months would that be if I take it?
You'd be about a third of the way through.
139 days puts you at about 4 months-ish. And so you're about a third of the way through what you'd be agreeing. So what your lawyer is suggesting is that maybe we adjourn this a week for you to think about it. You'll get credit for those days regardless. And if you decide you want to take the offer, you can do that. If you decide you don't want to take the offer, you have
Defendant's face is so expressive. I think that's why I did this clip.
the right to do it.
I'll take the offer right now. I ain't got time to wait.
Okay.
He's a busy man in the Washtenaw County Jail. He doesn't have time for this. Well, let's do it. I actually like it.
Judge, you ready to move forward?
Okay. Well then, let me have you raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Declare or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down, sir. You know that it was alleged that you violated your probation for the underlying charge in case number 22-238FH. In that case, you pled guilty to larceny from a motor vehicle and assaulting, resisting, obstructing a police officer. And it was alleged that you violated your probation contrary to condition 3, where you had, in December of 2022, you pled guilty to a violation of probation. And then looks like you were directed to report to probation and you failed to report, and there was a follow-up call with no contact, a follow-up notice with no contact, and failure to report. So it was alleged that you failed to report, and so that is kind of what's on the table today. It is the recommendation of probation that your probation be revoked, that you serve a year in the Washtenaw County Jail with credit for 139 days. So that is what is on the table. Is that your understanding, and is that what you want to proceed with?
Yep. That's my
All right. And you understand you're going to be pleading guilty to violating your probation.
Sounds good to me, Judge. But it actually probably is. I don't know. It's hard for me to evaluate because I don't do criminal stuff, but it probably is a good offer. And it's probably what Tertia Feaster is going to recommend to him. And this guy already knows it and wants it.
Right?
Yes.
All right. Other than what's been stated on the record, has anyone promised you anything to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
Has anyone threatened you in any way to get you to plead guilty today?
No.
And is the decision to plead guilty yours to make?
Of course.
And you are making this, you are pleading guilty because you violated your probation as alleged, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Sure did.
If you had had the hearing in this matter, you would have had certain rights, but by not having the hearing, you're giving them up. I'm going to go over them with you though right now. At the hearing, the prosecutor would be required to prove by preponderance of the evidence that you violated your probation as alleged in the petition. At the hearing, you would be able to examine, you or your lawyer could examine or cross-examine any witnesses. At the hearing, you could decide whether you wanted to testify or you could choose to not testify, and that silence would not be used against you. And if you needed witnesses for your defense, I would order them to appear. You understand each of those rights, and that by pleading guilty today, you're going to give them up.
Yep. I understand.
Okay.
I guess the other thing about this is it's just refreshing after seeing all these people, like all these sovereign citizens and just defendants generally trying to confuse and delay and mess up the system. This guy's like, no, I think it's a reasonable deal. I think Tertia Feaster thinks it's a reasonable deal, or he'd be interjecting and saying, no, don't do this right now. Let's set it over and I'll talk to you first. But he thinks it's a reasonable deal. So he's like, let's just do it and be done with it.
Finally, at that hearing, if you didn't like what happened, you could automatically go to the Court of Appeals. But because you're waiving that hearing, you give up the automatic trip to the Court of Appeals. You have to ask the Court of Appeals to take the case. The court would decide whether it's going to. You understand that you're giving up that automatic appeal. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I went over the underlying charges that you were charged with, and you were sentenced on July 11th, 2022 in those matters, about a month or two after you had pled guilty to them. So I'm just asking you, you understand that those charges have maximum penalties, correct?
Yes.
And I'm not saying you will get sentenced to this, but I'm just going to remind you of the maximums on those. On the one count, larceny, maximum of 5 years incarceration. On the second, assaulting, resisting, or obstructing a police officer, that's 2-year period of incarceration. Again, those are the maximums. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. It was alleged in the petition that you violated your probation in detail with dates provided that I just read over some of those with you. You've had a chance to review that petition. Did you violate your terms of probation by failing to report as identified in the petition?
Yes.
All right. And so how do you plead to the charges?
Guilty.
Okay. Counsel, have I complied with MCR 6.445 in taking the defendant's plea today?
People are satisfied, Your Honor.
You have, Judge.
I believe I'm complied with the court rule as well, and I find the defendant's plea of guilty is knowingly, understandingly, voluntarily, and accurately made. I'm also satisfied that there's a factual basis to support the finding that you are guilty of count 1, which is contrary to condition number 3 of your probation requirements, and I will accept your plea of guilty. Sir, do you object to me proceeding to immediate sentence in this matter?
Immediate sentence. So if I say you can sentence me, do I got to do a whole year in the county? That's 10 months.
Well, no, that's not what I'm asking.
Well, that's what you just agreed to and was stated explicitly. But okay, let's carry on.
I'll tip my hand. I'm going to sentence you according to probation's recommendation. Okay. So my question is, do you want to do that today, or do you want another interview with probation? Come back here in a month and we'll do it then.
No,
it doesn't matter. Today, you're okay with going ahead?
Yes.
All right. Let me hear if there's anything from the prosecutor or probation.
Judge is cool. He doesn't have to say that. In fact, a lot of times they won't. But there was a deal that means there's a recommendation, and he's saying I'm going to follow it. Do you want it or not? And part of that is a reflection of this guy saying yes, let's do it. So if he's going to be so open and upfront, the judge will too. Let's complete our task. Then everybody involved is on board.
Before proceeding. Okay, Mr. Feaster, any allocution or any comment from you?
Your Honor, Mr. Fairley says to know what he wants to do, and he's ready to resolve this matter. I ask that you send it to him according to the recommendation, Your Honor.
Brilliant. Subtle but brilliant. We know what's going on. The judge has already said he's going to follow the deal. Don't run on about it, which he didn't. I mean, you're saying what he said is appropriate, and then stop. It's a pro move.
Sir, is there anything you want to say before I impose sentence on you?
No, I can't. I don't have nothing to say.
Okay. It is a sentence.
That charms me. I don't have anything to say. I did it. He didn't fight with anybody about any of this stuff. I did it of my own free will. I'm pleading guilty to it. I'm not going to BS you about stuff right now. Let's carry on.
So the court that your probation is revoked is further the sentence of the court that you serve 1 year in the Washtenaw County Jail with credit for 139 days served. That is the sentence of the court, sir. You have the right to appeal what happened today. If you choose to do that, you need to pay attention to the rights and how you appeal things. Mr. Feaster, can you confirm that you'll get a copy of the appellate rights form to your client?
Yes, Judge.
All right. I need to just inform you, Mr. Fairley, that if you need court-appointed counsel because you can't afford it, you have to ask me to appoint that counsel in writing within 42 days of today's date. Feaster's office will get a copy of the appeals rights form to you in there, but that 42 days is important. Okay?
Okay.
You have any questions?
Yeah. So how long will I be doing now?
If you already get, I don't know, 365 minus 149, and then some good times sprinkled in on top of that. So I have no idea how many days it'll be, but less than a year. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Fairley. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it is a double rainbow. I cannot believe it. It's a freaking double rainbow.
Well, there you have it. I just enjoyed that. It was straight to the point. He was charming. He had a nice smile. The other part of that is it doesn't mean he's reformed, but it's the first step. When you stop BSing yourself and others. Yeah, I did it. Absolutely. That's the deal. I want it. Let's carry on. Yes, I'm waiving those rights. No, I'm not playing games. That is step one to redemption. There are more steps. But any judge or anybody who's seen this stuff a bunch of times would tell you the same thing. That is step one. Acceptance. You accept your situation and stop blaming others. If you do that, and that's a big step. If you do that, you got a chance going forward in life. He did some bad stuff, but he's not blaming anybody right now. That's a hopeful sign. Here at Law Talk, we like to have fun with silly stuff that happens in court, and every once in a while, and completely by accident, I assure you, you might learn something. Thanks for watching.